Okay, in this video we're going to go over the content block editor, and this is the editing tool that you'll use to edit all of the content inside your website. It's a very standard system. If you've used any kind of website editor before, it'll seem very familiar. And it's actually very similar to using even a word processor. There are a few things here and there that are web-based functions that you may never have used before, but none of this requires any programming whatsoever. It's all very basic information, and all you need is a basic understanding of how to manipulate content, like using Microsoft Word or a program like that. Okay, so let's dive into the tools, and I'm going to just, again, this is just an overview. We're not going into any detail of any of these functions. We have other videos that talk specifically about things like managing tables and how to manage images in the pages and videos and embedding videos and things like that. So those are more in-depth videos on those specific topics. So this video is just to give you a brief understanding of how this all works. Okay, so one of the things you'll notice right out of the gate is there's these dotted lines all over inside this editor. Obviously, the website doesn't show those. They don't look like that. They're everything is laid out as a normal page would look on a website. These dotted lines are simply there to show you where the blocks of information are in the page and how they are broken apart. And it makes it much easier for you to edit the page when you know where these different breaking points are in the page. So that's why they are displayed by default. If they bother you and you prefer them not be there, you can easily turn them off with this little icon right here. Just uncheck that and those little dotted lines will disappear. So if at any point while you're editing you want to get a better feel for the page without those on there, you can always toggle that on and off so that you can get a better view of what you're looking at. Okay, so let's start up here on the left, and I'm just going to go across the top row and then across the bottom row, and we're going to talk about what everything in here does. All right, so the first item in here, these are inserting templates. This is what it says. You use this to add templates in the page. So let's say, for example, you wanted to create a let's erase everything that's in here for a minute. Let's say you wanted to create a new piece of content. You want to start over and you want to do a page with 3 columns in it. You can just select 3 columns from this template list and then hit OK, and it will insert that information in the page. It lays it all out, and these templates have already been designed to work well on smartphones and tablet devices. So on smaller screens, these columns will automatically reformat and stack themselves on top of each other when they will not fit across the screen. So it's really handy if you can find what you're looking for using the templates. I would strongly recommend using them because we've already done the work of making sure that they're cross-compatible and responsive on different screen sizes. Okay, so the first templates are these basic templates right here with no images or anything in them. Then if you scroll down a little further, we've got some more in-depth style templates. You can click on those to see what they look like before you insert them into the page. So if you want to get some ideas on what the page might look like, then you can pick from these. Okay, and then right below those we have some more that are some commonly used templates. For instance, creating a bio, using embedding a Google map in your page alongside your contact information, embedding a YouTube video in your page. These are some fairly standard functions, so we've gone ahead and created some templates for you to start with so you don't have to start from scratch. Okay, on to the next icon here. So let's go ahead and we'll take this back to its original page. And by the way, I just undid that using the undo button, so you can redo and go back, or you can undo and go back to what you were, so like a word processor. The standard copy and paste functions, very similar. I'm not going to go over those. You can highlight things and cut them and paste them elsewhere. You can also use the shortcut keys on your keyboard if you're used to that. Everything works like you would expect. There is a find and replace function that you can use in the page. So you'll click that, type the word you want to find, type the word you want to replace, and it will search the content of your editing window and make those changes. Font colors. If you highlight font in here and then drop this down, you can select from colors. You can also select custom colors in here and then be able to use those throughout the rest of your site. Okay, so this is the ability to color the fonts. Then this next one is the ability to color backgrounds in your fonts. So I'm going to go ahead and make this font yellow, and then we'll go ahead and put a red background behind it. So we do that by going in here and selecting red. Now we have a red background behind it with yellow text on top, so it really makes that stand out. Okay, and then we have bolding, italicize, again, very standard functions. Click it and it bolds, unclick it and it unbolds. Putting a line through the text, superscripts, horizontal lines. So if you want to create a horizontal line in the middle of the page, you can simply click the horizontal line button and it will put a horizontal line in the middle of the page. And I can obviously undo that. This is all your aligning and justification of the content. So if you want all this text to align to the right, you can select it all, and then you can tell it you want it to align to the right. It'll do that. Align to the left. You can center everything. You can just center pieces of it. So if you wanted to just center this word, you'd highlight that word and then click the center button. But that actually brings up a nice point that's good to point out. You can't center information inside of a paragraph block. So you'll see that little P right here means we're inside of a paragraph block. In order for you to separate that and center it, you actually have to hit the Enter key and create a separate paragraph block for that piece of content. Now you'll be able to highlight that and center it without affecting the rest of the page. Okay, and the reason it's not quite centered is because of this image. That image is bleeding over into that paragraph section, so we might want to pull it down over to the end of this, and then that text will center itself over across the entire screen. Okay, so that's how centering and right and left justifying work. So let's switch that back. And then obviously justification, and then bulleted lists. They work just as you would expect. If you hit enter here and you start creating a list, the bullet will appear. Let's go to the left here so we're not centering way out in the middle of the page. As you type and you hit enter, the next bullet will appear and the next bullet will appear, and they just keep continuing like that. If you want to change the style of that bullet, simply highlight the list, click on the arrow to the right of the bullet, and you can switch to a different style of bullet. And so you have discs and squares, and the default is obviously discs, which is what it does when you first create a bulleted list. And then you can also switch to a numbered list, and you can actually do that when you already have a list. So let's say you want to switch to a numbered list, you can just click that list and it'll switch to numbered. And then again, you have options in here. You can switch to Roman numerals, you can switch to capital uppercase Roman numeral, and then go back to the default. Okay, these right here are for indenting. So let's say you have a block of content right here that you want to indent inside of the other content. So if I go in here and by the way, this is a good tip. When you are hitting the return key on your keyboard, when you hit return all by itself, it will create a new paragraph block automatically. If you don't want it to do that and you want to stay inside of this paragraph block, then you need to use the shift key on your keyboard. So you hold down shift and hit enter, and that will make it stay inside of the paragraph block. Here's the one catch. If you hit shift again and you start typing, this space right here may disappear in many of the browsers because there's nothing in it, and some browsers will look at that and eliminate that entire line. So what we suggest is hitting the space bar a few times, and that will force it to maintain that space in there. Otherwise it'll get really frustrating because it will collapse on itself. Okay, and so that's how we do that. Now if you want to indent this piece of information, that's what these do. So if you want to indent everything, you can use that and then use this to unindent it, and that will bring that information back. If you want to do just a piece of information, again, all of these functions here work as independent paragraph blocks. So if there's something you want to indent and you need it to be separated, then you'll want to do this so that you can create a paragraph block inside. Now when you type information in here and you tell that paragraph block to indent, it will indent as expected without affecting the rest of the text. Okay? I'm going to come back to formats in a minute. Let's talk about font families. We highly recommend that you don't start playing around with too many different fonts on your website. It just starts to look chaotic. And the rule of thumb is to keep things consistent when you're talking about websites and don't make them look crazy by using all kinds of different fonts throughout your site. If you want to change all of your font throughout the entire site, we suggest going into the design panel, go under the text and headers area, and change the font for your website right here. This drop-down list will list all the fonts that are available for your site, and that's where you would want to change them. And then that will affect all of the font throughout your entire site instead of doing it on a page-by-page basis. If for some reason, however, you want to create something that stands out, you can absolutely do it. Just understand that when you do want to modify the font for the entire site, this piece will override the rest of the font on the website. Okay, so that's how you do font families. Then if you want to do font sizes, again, over here we control the font sizes right here with this slider, and this is where you can change the font size throughout your website. If you want font to be different in one place, then by all means go ahead and do it this way. But if it's an entire website issue where you'd like it to all be larger font, we definitely would suggest going this route, and that will make it a lot easier. You won't have to do it on every single page. Okay, so I'll go ahead and expand this font just so you can see what that does. We'll go up here to 24, and it just makes the font bigger, and then go back down to some other size and shrink it back. So easy to use. The table function. This is one that is fairly complicated. I'm not going to go into it in detail. If you do want to create a table, you can easily do that with this tool. If you want to insert a table, you just highlight over here, select how many rows and columns you want, go ahead and create it, and then you can grab the edges of it to expand it and resize it on the page to make it do what you want. And then there's all kinds of different things you can do to manipulate the tables. So again, separate video. Go take a look at the video all about tables if you're planning on using those. We already talked about this. These are anchors. If you're not familiar with an anchor, what an anchor does is it makes you be able to create a link further down in a page. So let's say you have a list of topics up here at the top of the page. So if you have topic A, topic B, topic C, and you want these to link to sections inside this page but down further in the page. Let's say you have a long page of content and you want people to be able to click that to jump down the page to that area. You use anchors to do that. So again, there is a video all about anchors. I just want you to know what it does, but you'll want to watch that video to learn how to do it. It's a little in-depth to do in this video. Links. When you want to create a link, you click here and then you click the link button. A screen will pull up that allows you to type in the web address. So you can type in a web address right here to link to an external website. You also could drop down this link list and it will list all of the pages that are currently in your site so that you can just click on one of them and it will automatically create a link to that page in your site. Click OK, and then now that link has been created. We're not going to, again, talk about all the detailed functions that are in here. There's lots of cool things you can do with links. So take a look at the video about creating links, and that will go into depth about how this all works. All right, the next thing is images. Again, this is can be a lengthy discussion, so we're not going to go into the details. But if you want to insert an image into your website, just put your cursor where you want the image to be inserted, and then you'll click on the image button and you'll go get that image from your website's internal image library. So once again, not going to go into all the details of that right now. We'll talk about that in a different video. So go look for a video about embedding images and manipulating images in your website. This one right here, this is videos. So let's say you have a YouTube video you want to put in your website. We recommend going to YouTube and getting an embed code from your YouTube video, which is, again, we have a video specifically about how to embed YouTube videos, so you'll want to take a look at that. But it's really very simple. There is a place in YouTube where you can get an embed code, and then you can simply copy and paste it here and hit OK, and it will embed the video right in your website. So super easy to do. These are your special characters. So if you're looking for a registered trademark symbol or a cent sign or some kind of other strange symbols, you can find pretty much everything in here, and just click on it to add it to the page. Okay, so that added the registered trademark symbol right there. This item right here, this allows you to preview the content. Now, you can also again do that just simply by undoing this. It will give you the ability, but we wanted to leave this function in there as well in case you wanted it. If you click preview, it will pull up a page and display the content for you so that you can get an idea what it's going to look like. Okay, and this last button, this is for those of you that are brave and want to dive into the code of the page. If you click this, it will open up and display all of the code inside that page in HTML view. So if you want to dive into the actual code, we've made it possible for you to do that if that's something you're comfortable with. All right, and then over here, let's go back to the formats area. So this is a pretty cool area. There's some things in here that have been predefined for you, so you don't have to learn any kind of programming. So let's say we want to make this a header in the page. Right here, we have headers, and they're predefined, and in this demo site, they're all black, but if your website has colors chosen, which again you do over here in the design panel in this same area that we were just looking at. So if I go over here and I scroll down, there's some things in here called heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, and this is where you can select the color for the various headings. Notice all of ours are a dark color, and that's why these are all showing up dark right now. But you can also set the size and the color of these headings throughout the entire site. Just by manipulating these things in here. So here's the size, here's the font style, and then here you can change the color of that heading. And then throughout the entire website, all heading 1 items will be, or heading 2 will be the same color, the same size, and the same font style. So if I go in here and highlight that and call it, say I want it to be a header 2, it will automatically take it to that size. And one thing to note about this is the search engines really love this. This is what search engines look for headings in pages. They will pay more attention to headings than they will the rest of the content. So it's always a good idea to put headings in your page and use keywords that the search engines will use to rank your website in those headings. Okay, the blocks, this basically just switches between these 3 different styles of blocks. So right now you'll notice this is a div or a paragraph block. If you want to switch to a div, you can switch just by doing that and it becomes a div. This is not something that you really need to worry about. We just want you to know that it's here for those of you that are comfortable with that and that care whether things are paragraphs or divs. When you use our templates, we have already predetermined all of that for you, so you don't have to think about it. But if you want to, the function is there. And then the last one are these advanced formats. This list will continue to grow. This has some advanced functions. So let's say, for example, you want this image to be wrapped by text, but you want it to be on the left side of the screen. You can go in here and use the advanced format and say image left, and it will pull the image to the other side of the screen and wrap the text around it this way instead. And that's something that we've built in to make it easy so you don't have to figure out how to do that. Okay, and then advanced formats for clear floating divs. This is something that you can learn more about if you want to look at some of the more advanced videos about divs and page layout manipulation. Again, this is something that you will rarely ever use, but we just want you to know it's there if you want to use it. Okay, and then down here at the bottom, pretty simple. This thing right here, the status bar, will show you where you are. So as I step inside of the list element, it's showing me that I'm in an ordered list and that I'm on one of the list elements and that the font is bolded. So again, not something you need to worry about, just want you to know it's there. And then over here on the right, we count the words in the page. Not really important for any reason on the internet, but it is there if for some reason you want to know. And then this little guy right here will allow you to pull and shrink this window up and down if you want it to be taller or shorter. And you can manipulate that. It will always default to a default size, and you can only go so small. You can't go any smaller than 100 pixels. It won't allow it. So, and that's pretty much everything. So again, if you need details about any of the functions we just talked about, there are detailed videos all about content editing, so go check those out. And in the videos, you can type in just search words when you go into those videos that will allow you to drill down and search for videos, say for example, specifically about tables. So just open the video tutorial library up, in the search bar type tables, and you'll see all kinds of videos pull up that talk about tables. All right, and that's it for using the editing tool on your website.